All right, let's get on with the show. How's everybody doing on this fantastic Thursday? We've had a whole lot of nothing the last couple days. Bitcoin is traded off of the 200-day exponential moving average. I'm sure everybody is completely and totally aware of that. Has pulled back down into the daily 50. Let's get this microphone out of my face. All right. Yeah, Bitcoin is traded down to the daily 50 and almost tagged strategies cost basis. We put in 3 days of support here. Yesterday, it looked like as we were making a fresh day high, we were going to see a potential move higher. And then yesterday, we got some good news that, or Trump posted that we were really close to a deal in the Middle East. And then this morning, or I guess sometime last night, Iran come out and said, no, we want nuclear weapons so we can destroy the world. And then Bitcoin went back down. So, I mean, the Middle East is obviously going to be headline risk warning like every single day. So until we get through with that, expect two-sided trade, guys. But right now, literally the main thing that we're watching on the very near term is going to be the 50-day exponential. Let me get that pulled up so that way you can see exactly where that's coming in at. $76,589. And then, of course, strategies cost basis is setting at $75,700. I think if Bitcoin or if price loses this region, that could put pressure back on it to where we could see lower end or the lower side of the range tested. You're in a long-term channel that has been being built ever since the February 6th lows were put in on that capitulation day. You've essentially just been grinding in this range, slightly higher. Obviously, there are people out there that expect new lows on Bitcoin. There are a lot of people that think the lows are in. We'll see. Time will tell. So really and truly, there's not a whole lot to do today. Basically, we're bullish as long as we're above the 50. After that, then we just start discussing near-term bearish trades. But until then, I don't really think that we can actually be putting on those bearish trades, or at least not down here, maybe a little bit higher. I thought we would actually get up to the prior 3-day open. That's where I was willing to look for shorts. But as you can see yesterday, we could barely get above the midpoint. So that would say that on the very near term, there is a little bit more weakness in the price than there is strength. As if you can't trade above that midpoint, then it looks like sellers are willing to come down here and hit Bitcoin. We got long yesterday at daily demand. If we go into the intraday charts here, you can see that did not, this is where we bought it yesterday. And price literally hasn't gone anywhere, and now you're back down to it. You also have your intra-week VWAP here, and this is just an absolute perfect view of what price has done literally this week. That's your weekly range, folks. Your weekly high was put in on Monday, same with the weekly low. Both of those levels pretty much held all the way up until yesterday, but then as you made a fresh weekly high yesterday, you could not see any upside trend continuation. And now you're right back down to daily demand. So chances are the daily demand level, I mean, everybody that's looking at this expects it to break, right? So, but that's the level, that's support. You can clearly see it on the 4-hour time frame. If I go back over here to the 4-hour chart, you can see right here, once you broke under and made the daily demand zone, it acted as resistance here, here, and here. And then ultimately it broke out on Monday, like in the middle of the night at midnight. Actually, you got the breakout. It actually happened at 1 a.m. It was an hour before the London session opened. You broke out above that resistance level. And then here is yesterday when we decided to get long at a daily demand retest. So until you're closing 4-hour candles back under 76,943, at least for this week's range, it looks like the higher trade would be the better trade as you've made fresh weekly highs. So this is the support level for the midweek range. If you lose this level, chances are you're coming back down here to either test or make a fresh week low. So in terms of shorts, where would you be looking for shorts this morning? Well, the trade isn't very easy. Yeah, you don't really have much to look at in terms of risk mitigation. You've got an 8-hour supply zone at 77,478. Maybe one could look for potential short side entries there if you have a short side bias. I do not. I mean, I should have, because that looks disgusting, the chart, but I just can't because price isn't trending under the weekly VWAP. We thought we were going to see a move here, but turns out, nope. Iran is not going to allow the stock markets to do good because they know as long as oil prices are, wait, where is, right here it is, okay. As long as oil prices are up and moving higher, that's going to put pressure on some assets, not all. Obviously, we all know that there are a lot of assets that are doing good. Anything that has to do with AI, data centers, the hyperscalers, or anybody that they do business with, those companies are all doing good. Meanwhile, most other are not. So we will talk about some of those AI plays later on in the video. I just wanted to make sure and get the day traders situated before we start discussing AI and data centers and data center builders, contractors, coolers, everything that has to do with the data center complex. So we'll see what happens here with oil on the very near term, but obviously it looked like we were going to see it break down yesterday. Got a nice range expansion, breaking down below daily support, getting back under the daily 21 exponential, but it is retesting that right now. So, I mean, it's obviously above it. People are going to be watching for daily demand retests for short side setups. I think the weekly open would be a better level to watch. If price can reject this, I wouldn't mind holding a short myself, but we'll see if it can get up there. It might not be able to get up there. Right here is going to be daily demand. So let's just, or supply, sorry, not demand. Supply. We'll see if any kind of resistance shows up here on the intraday charts. It doesn't really look like it, as you're repricing all that you lost yesterday. So we'll see what happens with oil, but it's very choppy. All the markets are choppy because of this. The dollar is super choppy. The dollar's been choppy for over a year at this point. I mean, you go back and count these months up. This is the first month that you traded into the range, and 13 bars. So that's literally 13 months you've been trading in this range. Q4 of 2025's high is right here. That's going to be the major resistance area. We don't really need 2024's open, but yeah, that's going to be the major resistance area. If you can break out above this and sustain bullish pressure, sustain a rally, people are going to get real bearish on Bitcoin, and I would be included in those people, because the dollar, this has been in a range for so long that if you break out to the upside or break down to the downside, it could sustain a macro style move. So if you break out, hold it, you could see multiple months of trending to the upside. Same for the downside. If you were able to break down and start a trend, you could see multiple months of downside. So you can clearly see the range that we're in here. We were hoping, as it was posting up down on the lows, that it was going to break down, but it rallied right back up. So right now, essentially what the dollar is doing is or what it has been doing all week, I should say, is filling a very large unfilled gap. This gap down right here that occurred. You've essentially just been filling that, and the sellers have been looking to take a short here, but when you start putting in higher lows like this, it's not a good sign for sellers. But we'll see if the bulls are able to get it to the April open. What happens there, in my opinion, will dictate direction for a little while. So this is the last level on the dollar that I can be short. Literally nothing has changed since Tuesday. I did like Tesla for a long We talked about it on Tuesday. I wanted to see how Tuesday closed. Ultimately, you had a downside move. Here, let's go out to the daily. You had a downside push Tuesday. We wanted to see that close under major moving averages to kind of set a bear trap, if you will. But instead, what ultimately happened is Tesla got bought up off the daily 200 AMA and it rallied and then ended up making fresh day highs on Tuesday. So you took out the open, then you made a fresh day high. So any sellers that would have been stuck in here were not stuck. They were stopped out that day. So I did say that I liked Tesla, but I wanted to be able to get involved pre-market or post-market down here on the lows. But anyway, if you bought Tesla on Tuesday, kudos. You're doing good. It's rallying here. It looks really good. As long as it can sustain bullish pressure above 407 spot 60, I would just keep holding it. Yeah, it looks good. But anyways, getting back over here to Bitcoin. So we're just now getting the bell. The New York session has just started. So we'll see if they want to run it up and tag that 8-hour supply zone and see if they hold it there. I'm still holding along from yesterday from daily demand. So if price breaks down today, I will get stopped out of that trade. I'm not looking to put on any fresh shorts here this morning as it is into support. And even though all the headline risks out there and the macro looks terrible and the dollar's rallying and yields are skyrocketing and the world's going to end, I still have to keep a bullish bias because of what price is doing. This could be absorption. You could be absorbing all the selling pressure and then you could see a rally out of this area. But that's the thing. Nobody knows what's going to happen. The sellers could be absorbing all the bids. And if that happens, then price will break down. I typically want to look for trades in the direction of the near-term trend, generally speaking. So, I mean, today, the near-term trend or the trend on the week is up, right? You're making fresh weekly highs. So it's if it was higher, I would be okay with the short, but because it's just sideways pretty much, it doesn't make any opportunities feel good. Whether you're a bull or a bear, it really doesn't matter. It's so choppy, so sideways and boring. And then that's really it. I mean, because whatever Bitcoin does, so goes the rest of the crypto market usually. Fartcoin has sold off or pulled back a little bit here. So is Bonk, Pingu, which are the three alts that we usually look at. They have a propensity to move largely inside of a daily range. And as day traders, that's what we're typically looking for. Something that has, I guess, an average true range of 2% on a daily basis. So anything that can move 2% per day, we like to scalp. But Zcash is up on the highs. So Zcash is doing really, really well as you're getting ready to make fresh all-time highs on it or really close to making fresh all-time highs. And then another crypto asset that is doing pretty good is, I don't know how it's doing today, but it's been doing pretty good, is Hype. As you can see here, it is literally doing just fine today, as it is still climbing so close to making a fresh, from what I can see on this chart, all-time highs. Fantastic. So Hyper doing good, Zcash doing good, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, all of those not doing good. So we'll see what happens with it. Hopefully everybody's doing fantastic. I have to play around with it. So I have an ASUS monitor that came factory with something called Game Plus. and it keeps randomly popping up. I've tried to turn it off and it continues to pop up, so it's blocking the chat. So let me pop out the chat and put it in a different window and move it. Yeah, I can't seem to find a fix for that either on YouTube, so I don't know. I might have to buy a new monitor. Okay, so let's talk about some AI plays while Bitcoin is just setting here. I created a new watch list yesterday. Obviously, you're going to have your hyperscalers, Google, Oracle, Nvidia, Amazon. Microsoft is also a hyperscaler, but they're not doing very good as of late. We think that Microsoft is trying to build in support here. So essentially what I was looking at this morning was a play off of the weekly open if we got a test of it. So as you can see here, right in here is essentially when I was looking for that retest. It didn't give me the retest of the level. Let me turn the moving averages off because I wasn't looking at the moving averages. But I was looking for the retest of 416.62 to get long this morning. And then obviously it didn't give me that shot. So I was kind of hoping that on the open it would shoot down there. And so far we haven't gotten that move yet. If this level can hold moving forward today, then I would be willing to buy it. All right, so that's Microsoft. The reason why is because they haven't really been, it hasn't really been rallying like other AI stocks have been rallying. You have a lot of the, the infrastructure companies, people that are literally building the data centers, and then all of the little all of the little companies that are going to be working on the inside of the data centers, getting it ready for the racks, if you will. All of those companies are literally doing good. So let's pull up some of those real quick, just so that way you can see what my watch list even looks like. So Palantir, I think Palantir is building in a large support zone here. I could be wrong. It's making lower highs, so that's generally not a good thing on the weekly time frame. But if it can hold support is coming in at around 130. I think long term this is a buy. It's under most of the major moving averages on the daily and weekly time frames that I like to look at. So on the daily, this looks bearish, but it's because the bears have not been able to really get a big downside move. That has me a little bit more bullish here, because when the bears are in control, when they're really truly in control, when you have either fear side selling, or just the price is too high and the sellers have taken over control of order flow, you get large trending moves, not stuff like this. So this is price discovery. So you're building in what looks to be a support zone here. So under 130, I would probably leave it alone, as at that point it could start a large trending move to the downside. But if it's not able to do that at some point, if you want to get involved in a Palantir long in the future, then you're going to have to buy it somewhere. So right now, to me, 130 looks like that price that I'd be willing to buy some shares for a long-term hold. This is not for a day trade or even a swing trade. This is for a long-term hold, like multiple years out. They're literally growing. The company is growing. So I'm not going to try to say that I think it's expensive here or anything like that. They just got like a almost $30 billion deal to overhaul most of the airports in the US. So, I mean, Palantir's doing big things. And of course, they are part of the whole AI data center thing. So also here, we're going to have APLD, which is Applied Digital Corp. On the weekly, this thing is on fire. These, obviously, on most of these, I want to see a pullback before I get involved in them. So if this thing could pull back to $32 or something like that. But then I have CRDO. This is going to be Credo Technology Group. They're also doing good. APH, Amphenol Corporation. This one has pulled back. So this one is literally at an interesting level here now. You're under last month's low. So at this point, you are trending. But if at any point in the future, if it fails to put in that trending move and then gets back above 123, I could potentially be a buyer there as you're in a multi-month range here. So under this low, that's your range low. Under this low, you are breaking down and trending. But above this low, you're still in this range. You're still potentially accumulating. All right? And this company is going to be in the hole. I mean, listen, McKinsey predicts that amid this AI boom, up to $7 trillion will be spent on data centers going all the way into 2030. All right, so Meta also pulling back, which is typically what you want if you're looking to get involved in the trade. You want to see a large time frame consolidation. You want to try to pick it up on the bottom side of those ranges. 497 is going to be the bottom side of the Meta range. We have ARM platforms. This thing is absolutely getting crushed to the upside today. So obviously this one is not, it's going to be on the watch list moving forward, but it's not something that I'm interested in buying anytime in the near term, because I want to pick things up in a range, not when they're scalding to the upside. Teradyne also on the list. Fix is going to be part of the infrastructure. This company is building out the whole data center, and you can see how this thing has been absolutely skyrocketing through 2025 and 2026. IESC, this also absolutely tearing to the upside. Most of these are going to be doing this. Quanta Services also just screaming to the upside. POWL, Powell Industries. ETN, this one right here, potentially sideways. Not potentially, it is sideways. It is range bound. It broke out and then pulled back into the range. So this one's going to be watched at 362 to see what it does there. Modine, they do the cooling. They're on fire as well. 2024, this thing started to rip. 2026, it's really starting to take off. This is also part of the cooling carrier global. They do a lot of HVAC across the whole country. So they will be getting involved in the AI. They already are. The price just hasn't been priced into the chart yet from several analysts I've heard state that. So this one's going to be very interesting to watch at 57 bucks, as that's where the weekly 200 is. They can continue to hold there. I would be more than okay with picking up some shares of CARR. And then these last two, I'm not too sure about, but I have them on there anyways. You can see that you're pulling into the 200 week on this one. Could be a decent place to watch, as it did find support there the last two times that was tested. So this could be an area where people are accumulating for the AI hyperscaling play, the AI bubble that everybody is calling for. I mean, there are stocks that are literally doing good. You just have to know where to look. All right, but those are the AI plays that I'm going to be keeping on the watch list for at least the next few years. I will be interested in putting on a little bit of money on all of them. Palantir is, I mean, I would love to buy Palantir if it was trading down around last week's low. Because it's trading up at last week's high, it makes it a difficult buy for me. But if you look at this on the 4-hour chart, doesn't look really good to be long yet. I mean, it looks a little bit weak here, but support much lower. So I'm going to be watching it around 130. All right, just because I brought it up in the Discord today, I'm not interested in buying it today. Not interested in buying it today. All right, so we'll keep an eye on it. We're going to be watching it around prior week lows. So next week, I mean, if it closes up in here today or tomorrow, next week, we'd be watching it around 130, as that's this week's low. We want to see it start to build in higher weekly lows. You've got that this week. So as long as this week closes higher than the current low, next week, if it gets down to around this low, that's where you would be looking for the long opportunity. Yeah. Hopefully it does that. Hopefully I'm not a little bit too late on this one, but we'll see. All right, going back over here to Bitcoin, as you can see, it did break down below daily demand. So I have been stopped out of that trade. Let me get the dollar pulled up over there on the other monitor. Dollar is breaking out, or at least the USD JPY is breaking out. Dollar is also breaking out here. So this would give you a full-on gap fill. Bloomberg was really bearish this morning. Let me see here. Yeah, I don't know that I can buy Bitcoin here, but it could be a trap. As you did stop out literally everybody from yesterday. Yeah, I mean, as long as it's a higher daily low. So that's going to be where I no longer want to be a buyer. We take out today's low, I'm definitely not going to be interested in buying Bitcoin. So let me try to put on a little bit, or at least get this limit order ready to go. Try to find the best price to buy here. So I'm looking for that lowest 5-minute close, 76,671. That's where I'm going to put my limit buy. On the week's platform, that's 730, 76,730. And it will be the last time that I try to buy Bitcoin. This week. This week has not been an easy week, obviously. It's been very choppy. I don't want to take too many losses on trying to stay bullishly biased if price is clearly telling me it doesn't want to go higher. Because that's what it is doing right now. Makes it very difficult to be a buyer. Give me 1 second here. Euro is also making fresh day lows. Interestingly enough, Aussie dollar is not. So if it gives me a retest of this price, I'm going to get filled on a long. And I'm going to have a stop down at yesterday's low, because if you take yesterday's low out, I no longer want to be long. It's going to be that simple. And also you'll have a bearish engulfing candle. So daily support is coming in right here, though. 76,774. Thank you, my love. All right. What's up, Oxum Trading? Bravo. Good morning, Peter. Good morning, amigos. Hola from Brazil. Welcome to the channel. Sui on weeks. Sui USDT. All right. Let me get that pulled up. And you specifically asked for on weeks. So I don't know why it's gapping like that. So let me just pull, because you asked for USDT, so you're looking at futures. There shouldn't be any gap in a perpetual swap futures contract, because a futures contract trades 24/7. Perpetual means forever. There is no expiration, therefore there should be no gaps. All right, so here it doesn't look good. I mean, I know that it spiked a couple weeks ago, but it rejected trading higher than the weekly 21 exponential moving average. Typically, that's not a good sign. Now, with that being said, it is also holding support on the daily at the daily 50. So you don't want to see a daily close under 1.04. If you get that, then you could be breaking down, similar to what Bitcoin is doing here today. Now, we don't know that Bitcoin is going to break down. Bitcoin could just be liquidating yesterday's range, looking to go higher, but it doesn't feel like that with the headline risk out there, with the literal inability for it to get any kind of bullish pressure yesterday. Makes it feel weak. But I mean, it looks fine. That is a support test and a support hold. You are making higher lows and higher highs. So that's the trend you want to see continue. So the only place that I could get involved if I was looking for a long would be around a prior day's low. Now you are trading down here close to today's low. So that would probably be like a first attempt. Secondary attempt would be down at like 103.8 or 103.5, just close to yesterday's low. Now, obviously, I wouldn't want to buy that if that happens today, because it's similar to Bitcoin. You would be putting in a nasty bearish engulfing, and that wouldn't be something that I would want to buy. Unfortunately, we can't see into the future, so we don't know if it's going to do that or not. It feels like it's going to. I mean, the way the dollar looks, the way everything else looks, it looks like it's a legit breakdown. The buyers were able to hold support yesterday, though. So I have to be a buyer whenever I see structure like this. I can't really be a seller. All right, so I'm gonna have to move the limit up a little bit to the midpoint of this candle. So it's gonna make the stop much wider, unfortunately. So your position sizing is going to have to change. You can't just move the entry and not change your stop. We really don't want to even try to buy it anymore if it starts making lower 5-minute closes, which will probably, like, if Bitcoin's going to break down and continue to trend lower all day today, that'll probably happen in the next 30 minutes. All right. So we don't want to chase it. We want to get filled on a down tick. Something else of note here. Yesterday, I wanted to show you guys, this thing was weak on deltas, and the sellers, so they were more aggressive than the buyers yesterday. There was only a brief period in time where the buyers were the aggressors, and that was up here. Then price ended up rolling over for the New York session. Look how aggressive the sellers were yesterday. And notice how Bitcoin just continued to make those higher lows. Can't really see it because price is small, but I mean, you can clearly see the higher lows, right? higher low, higher low. That's even when the sellers were more aggressive. So typically that can indicate, and it really looked like it yesterday when Bitcoin started to rally, that there was an iceberg down here or someone hiding their intent. That's generally how you get these divergences or these discrepancies. So like typically like today you could be a seller if you sold on the day at the day high, for instance, because your indicator is showing you that the sellers are more aggressive and price is also showing you that, right? That's typically what we want to see. We want the deltas to confirm price or price to confirm the deltas. Whenever there is a discrepancy or a divergence, we have to be very, very careful because we're probably wrong on direction. Because something is happening that we can't see that's making the divergence. So typically this thing isn't going to come back and film me, is it? Typically your auction theory market guys or the guys that trade with auction market theory, they say essentially you have a big buyer that is absorbing all the assets. So even though these sellers are more aggressive, the reason price isn't going lower and making fresh lows is because there is a big order that is just soaking up all those asks. So your market sellers are hitting sell very aggressively, but there's a bid just, it's like it's running into the bid and it can't go any lower. So that's how they view it, right? I don't really care if there's a discrepancy or a divergence. If I'm a seller, I have the deltas with me and price is making higher highs, or higher lows, I'll just bail on the position. If I'm long and I see that, so yesterday we were long here, we got long here, then obviously I want to continue to hold. Anytime that I'm holding a long, if price is making higher lows, I'm good with that. But if it were the opposite, like I was long and the deltas were showing me that the buyers were the aggressors, but price was making lower highs, then I would bail on the long. So basically, I'm watching USD JPY and it's rejecting at weekly res, or it's not rejecting, it's just pulling back off of weekly res. So essentially this was a liquidation move as of right now, but we'll see. If the dollar continues higher, then Bitcoin probably will roll over. But the weekly VWAP's down here and daily demands here. So you have confluence. And as of right now, you still have higher lows. So we haven't really seen anything yet that would shift the bias. Other than momentum, right? The sellers have momentum today. That's the one thing that, disgusting. Going to make it difficult. This is price action. I have seen this kind of price action before, right before a big move. This is very reminiscent of that. I just don't know which way the move will be. It could be a big move lower. We don't know. But it is very reminiscent of a larger move. Very sideways. In fact, if you look at this weekly range, today's Thursday. Oh, look how small this weekly range is. This is the smallest weekly range, probably going back a long time. It's tiny. So the fact that it's Thursday and this range is this small, it feels like a move is coming. And I could see a bunch of garbage like what it's doing right now. I could see this move playing out to the upside still. So I just have to be long. That's what my rules say to be, so that's what I'm going to be. It doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. I'll just eat another stop if I'm wrong. All right, so all right. No interesting setup at all. No, not really. Not really. Microsoft was literally the only thing that I was looking at going into today, other than Bitcoin, but right here is where I would be interested on being a buyer on Microsoft if it can hold. It's this week's open. I know the intraday says that the weekly open is here at 415. But if you look at the weekly chart, it says it's there. So I don't know what's up with that. But right now it's pretty mixed. You had buyer aggression on Monday, seller aggression on Tuesday, buyer aggression on Monday. And as of right now, Thursday, the sellers are a little bit more aggressive on the very near term. The VIX is gapped up today from yesterday, moved higher up to 1791 and then rolled over. So basically what the VIX is doing right now is it's testing yesterday's low, which is more bullish than bearish for risk markets or any risk asset. So if it can hold 416, I'd be a buyer on Microsoft. But it's kind of hard to buy that. Looking like this. This, I have no idea what this is. Maybe news? Yeah, I don't see any news on the S&P. Let's see what this says. Microsoft and EY commit $1 billion to scale enterprise AI globally, aiming to move clients from pilots to production and accelerate AI deployment across company operations. So it was Microsoft news that caused that little spike. S&P 500, the 4-hour time frame is holding above the 21 EMA. The futures, so as long as that's the case, I can be a buyer on Microsoft. And yeah, if it can hold that price, I can be a buyer. I can't if it's under it. So Bitcoin just basically doing what it loves to do, which is stop me out and then stop going lower. Yeah, that's a good sign right there. Bouncing off that daily demand. Love it. Oh my gosh. Why I'm not a gamer, folks. That's why. All right. So yeah, love this, and I love that reaction. I would still have a bearish bias here based on the chart. And that's the reaction I like to see. Obviously, it's got to start making those lower lows. If it holds the open, then it's probably not a sell. So it did ultimately make that lower low. So that's a good sign, unless it goes on to make higher highs. Then this sign will be moot. But that was a good reaction nonetheless. I doubt it holds. The buyers are super aggressive here. Yeah, buyers are super aggressive. This move will probably get faded. It's very aggressive buyers. Good morning, Sis Paperweight Woman. What's up? Did Weeks do an update? It just recommended me to new futures and feels nicer. Good stuff. I don't know. Mine is opposite. Mine is super laggy and annoying. So I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's an issue with my PC or what, but lately on Weeks, their trading platform has been super laggy. I've had to refresh it. It's been slow. Like if I click on a ticker symbol, it takes all day to load. Yeah. I'm assuming they did some kind of update or changed something. There's the daily demand retest. Also, weekly VWAP retest. I would love to see if that could hold. All right. All right. All's good. Hello from, I can't even pronounce that. Tenerife? I don't know. Never heard of that. But hello. Pattern day trading rule is abolished. Effective June the 4th. That is like the best news for retail traders in the world. That is the stupidest rule on the planet. If someone wants to lose all their money, that should be up to them. It shouldn't be enforced by Big Brother. So good for retail traders around the world. I assume is when the Democrats run the country again, they'll just bring it back. So annoying. But no, maybe they won't. It's dumb. It's an outdated law. It's just dumb. It's so dumb. It's literally the one thing that keeps retail traders trading options. Small account traders, they just don't, they work for full time for a job. They don't have money. You know what I mean? They don't have $25,000 to put in a trading account. So, like, yeah, this is really good news. Really good news because you can get in and out of a position and not worry about getting stuck because of PDT. Fantastic. Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't know that. Weeks turning into a real bummer for me too, says Bill Henson. Yeah, they're probably just, they've been adding a lot of tickers lately. But, I mean, it is what it is. There really isn't anything I can do about it. I can bring it up to the people that I discuss things with and see if it's something on their end or what, you know what I mean? But yeah, other than that, yeah, it's best that you trade on, usually it's going to be best that you trade on a platform that is regulated and wherever you live. But here in the US, we still do not have futures trading on perps. Not much. Not like you do on the offshore exchanges. The perps are better because you don't have to worry about rolling and expirations and things like that and deliveries, right? Like if you trade on the US regulated futures exchange, any commodity that you're trading, if you're down on the position and the contract expires, you have to take delivery. Like, that sucks. Perps gets around that. Because there is no expiration. You can indefinitely hold. So, yeah, I hope this Clarity Act changes a lot of things and eventually we get a US broker that allows perps. I mean, Coinbase does on some. Their new platform or whatever has, I was looking at it for like literally 10 seconds one day and I did see some perpetual futures, but it didn't look like they had many. But maybe that changes with the Clarity Act. Maybe they bring in more perps and then tokenized stocks. That's going to be a thing probably most likely in the future anyways. Like on E-Trade and Charles Schwab and all the US regulated brokers, I wouldn't be surprised if all stocks don't go to tokenized. So tickers will be changed to /USD. Palantir /USD. Microsoft /USD, things like that. We'll see. The sellers should be able to fade this because the trend for today is down. So even though it was a nice bullish pop, it should still get faded if the sellers are in control of price. Like I said, the dollar is bullish. So until you're red on the day almost, you can't really be looking to trade against that. So even though it had a nice bearish reaction here, it did not make a lower low. Bearish reaction, but higher low. Yeah, this is super bullish. Oh, let's see. It was pretty bullish over here too when it actually started to roll over. Boom. This would be the first attempt for new sellers to get involved. So anybody that got stopped out, because I was one of the people that got stopped out. I got stopped out. I did short oil. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It was Tuesday evening that I shorted oil. But my positioning was terrible. So I remember it was the 9 o'clock candle that stopped me out right here. So my positioning, my entry must have been down here as this wick pushed up into my stop. Stop should have been at the high of day. If it would have been, I would have been safe. I have no idea what prompted me to even put that trade on. It was so bad. But yesterday I was upset because I did miss out on a 6% move to the downside. And oil had been very choppy for some time. But, I mean, this is super bullish. This is way more aggressive than this was. But maybe not at that time. Yeah, I don't know. The fact that Iran keeps wanting to make a nuclear weapon, that's not good. I mean, especially when your slogan is death to America. Like, welcome to Iran, death to America. It's like, okay, yeah, probably shouldn't be allowed to own a nuke. Like every time they say, or Trump says, it's like they say we're close to a deal, then Trump rejects it, and then Trump says they're close to a deal, then Iran rejects it. It's causing this back and forth, this garbage price action. Trump has really screwed the pooch, man. He was volatile the last time he was in office too, though. He did a lot of damage to my P&L then as well. All right, so Microsoft is trading into the weekly open here. But I don't really love this weakness. And Bitcoin is getting faded. This would be where I would take a long, though, because that is a midpoint test of this 5-minute candle here. So I'm going to go ahead and get filled or take the fill on Bitcoin for the long. That's a very wide stop all the way down to yesterday's low. So I probably won't set in that. If it starts closing lower 5-minute candles, I'll bail probably. Instead of just taking it all the way back down to there. Nothing really looks good for the long. USD JPY looks like it wants to go higher. Euros on the lows. Dollars on the highs. VIX is back off the lows. So the VIX was testing yesterday's low and now it's back to up. So you're starting to see risk markets come off here a little bit. So the VIX was down here on the lows, but it couldn't trend. Now it's back to up. So basically, if you look at that on an intraday chart, you're going to see probably a big move away. Well, I don't know why it looks like that. But it was down here when the market opened, and now it's popping back to the upside. As long as it's under yesterday's high, we're okay. It's not advancing. But I mean, the S&P's pulling back. Pulling back off the highs. And Bitcoin is dropping. So it does look like it's probably heading lower today. And how much is it down? It's currently down almost 1%. So it's not down massively. But obviously it doesn't look good. Yeah, it doesn't look good at all. Doesn't matter what it looks like right now, though. It matters what it looks like later, right? Matters what it looks like later. So far, so good. Bouncing off that lowest close. That's good. But it has to protect that. Things just not looking good for that to play out. Another thing that doesn't look great is silver. Kind of missed out on that, but silver did not look like it was going to reject that aggressively. It's because the dollar essentially reversed off the lows that put pressure on gold and silver to pull back. And now literally any pullbacks to 78.90 are going to be met with sell side opportunities moving forward in the future. So if silver can reject this price in the future, I'd be a seller. Can't be a seller all the way down here. I could have been a seller on right here, but I was not watching price when it did that. That would have happened last night at 8 o'clock. But I generally don't like looking for the selling opportunity once the indicator hits oversold like this. But there's where it would have been. So that's the best opportunity when it breaks to the 50 and gets up there. If it's going to roll over, that's typically where we would want to see it roll over from. And it did give you a move lower, but you just didn't get that trend continuation under the lows. It held, and then it's bouncing. So shorting it right here, to me, isn't a good opportunity. Not with this reaction. I would have wanted to see it break through these lows and continue. All markets have been choppy as hell this week. Literally all of them. So we'll see. Next week, we will get paid. It's not over yet. I mean, it's not looking great for Bitcoin, but not over yet. In terms of news, do we have anything big on the... No. Nothing. Let's go check what we're seeing happening. Oh, wrong one here. Let's go pull this up and see what the FedWatch tool's pricing in today. For December. Wow, so now it's even more. So this number has just been climbing all week. You're up to 41.5, so there's more of a chance that by December we get a rate hike. That's crazy. That's still a long ways off, right? So it's not guaranteed. Right now, markets are hard to price out 30 days, let alone 6 months. But still, I mean, that's what the markets are pricing in at this moment in time. They're still not pricing in anything for the next rate decision, and then July's rate decision. You can start to see that cut probabilities are starting to show up then. Still very low. It's September, October when those probabilities start to really move. Well, no, not really. 33 to 37%. Well, I guess it's only a 41% chance right now, but 42. It's crazy. Let's go, Bitcoin. Let's do it. Rapid expansion to the upside now, please. Maximum expansion to the upside. Let's go. Slow sideways price action is very, very boring. There probably are things that are moving fast today, just nothing that I like to trade. Tech sector looks bad. Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Google, all red. Oracle, barely. I mean, it's pretty much unched. Meta, Abgo, Intel, Tesla, all down. Netflix up almost 1%. AMD down 3.5%. But AMD was on a massive tear, so I wouldn't want to be buying AMD as it is massively overbought. What a beautiful buying opportunity down here at 192. Gave you plenty of time to be a buyer. But anyways, we'll see what's happening. Yes, sir. All right, let me see what's going on over here in the chat. Not much. I think you were right about Bitcoin small range this week, then bullish next week. Well, I mean, it isn't about right and wrong. It's just I mean, it's not. I'm just looking at price, and price is saying, hey, yeah, it's still more bullish this week than it is bearish because it's above the weekly VWAP. That's it. Like, that's it. It's not about being right and wrong. My bias long term on Bitcoin is higher. As long as Bitcoin is continuing to close days above the 50, it's just a pullback. Yeah, so not about right and wrong. Not really what I think Bitcoin long term will be much more expensive than this. Bitcoin is most likely going to break out and make fresh all-time highs. But obviously it's very affected by liquidity, and right now liquidity is tight. You're long from the March high and targeting December's low. Okay. So you're long from here. And you're targeting there. Wait a minute. Well, if you got, you obviously had to get long at the March high in April. You already got that move. Oh, that's the December low. Yeah, that's being a little picky, Bill. Come on now. That's being a little picky. Good trading. I mean, I would have taken profits probably if once it tagged that November low, because that's the lower low. So like any inefficiency from this low is gone now that in the month of May you traded there. But I mean, I don't really put too much weight on efficiencies and inefficiencies, but you almost got there. But the daily level of the 200 EMA is what stopped it from getting there. Yeah, and that's another thing. It's still holding the monthly open, so it isn't super bearish just yet. It's coming in right here. It's not super bearish yet. Oop. My CPA is annoying the piss out of me. I will sign your paperwork when I'm done, bro. All right. Yeah, as long as I can hold the March open, I have to be a little bit more bullishly biased. This price is up. Once we're under this, though, that's different. Things have changed. The May VWAP looks bad. So that's the one thing that the sellers do have here for them. So that's kind of threatening. Yesterday's price action was so freaking bad. It was so annoying and bad. It was just some disgusting stuff. Just absolutely ridiculous. Once it broke to the upside, I was like, yes, finally, trending. But nothing happened after the trend move started. Like, literally nothing. It was like, nope, psych. Just kidding. Really couldn't do anything. And then today, anybody that sold the weekly low this morning or the weekly high this morning made a really good call. I mean, it wasn't a really good call because price is only down 1%. But I mean, that's a 2% move, isn't it? Yes, almost a 2% move. So they actually got a better trend today than you've gotten all week. Selling pressure here, that was a good trend. That took a little bit of time. I mean, less time to happen, and it's about the same size move. So, I mean, the sellers are here. For whatever reason, though, they're like backing off at the lows. They're backing off at the lows. They don't have confidence, right? That's why, that's the only reason they would back off. They don't have confidence. They don't like it. Which is not the best sign to be a buyer when the sellers lack confidence. Bitcoin hasn't really been super bullish yet since the Fed lows. And I think a lot of people are waiting for that. They want to see bullish momentum. When in reality, you know, when the VIX environment is low, sometimes it's not super aggressive price action you see, but slow, steady. Higher highs, higher lows. They've had it all day. They shouldn't have any problems going on and making that fresh weekly low. Just keep an eye on the oil, keep an eye on the dollar. If the dollar is ripping to the upside, then obviously looking for the long on Bitcoin might not be the best idea in the world. The dollar isn't ripping today, but it is up. But it's just it's like an irrelevant higher high. An insignificant higher high. Now, the dollar bulls just, for whatever reason, have no confidence, I guess, above the gap. Would love to see the dollar fail here, and I would love to see it fail in a big way. That would be beautiful. But the best thing that I think would be in my opinion, is if Bitcoin could sustain a huge or a nice bullish rally, even if the dollar's rallying, I think that would be very bullish. Because in a sense, that would tell you that Bitcoin is stronger than the dollar. That would be a beautiful sign. For Bitcoin bulls. Now, this is very choppy too. Yeah, longer term, I like Palantir higher. I just don't like it at these prices. When you make insignificant highs like that, no continuation, it feels like any minute the breakdown is coming, or a breakdown. Something like this is coming. Because you slow grind higher and then boonk. Slow grind higher, boonk. Thinking ahead, if the monthly closes around here or red will be ugly. Not really. I mean, it wouldn't be beautiful if the monthly closes as a doji, and people would look at that as a rejection, and sellers for the month of June would be more than okay with taking it, most likely. So yeah, I agree, but as long as Bitcoin isn't like breaking down below monthly support, I think it's just range bound price action. It doesn't infer much other than you're back down to the range lows. But the bears they're wanting to see fresh lows. I think because it's holding the open, it says a lot. But it's not going to do that for much longer. Price needs to get away from these lows. It feels very heavy. Price feels very heavy here. Could take another day or two. That would be a good sign if it were to hold the 50. That would be very good, because a 50 on a daily time frame is a strong trending average. So if it can hold the 50, that I think that could bring in more demand, as that would be a retest and a successful hold. I think your bigger money traders would look at that as a very successful test and a very bullish sign. So yesterday I was getting excited when it held at daily demand and rallied. But at that time yesterday, we had already made a fresh day high when we bought the daily demand zone yesterday. So today we made a higher high again, but then rejected because of that bad news. But ultimately, the fact that it's coming back in here and testing it again, I'm okay with that, but I don't love it. I don't love it. I wanted to see it stay away from this area after it rallied out of it. I wanted to see higher highs and like that trending move. Once you made that fresh weekly high, it's nice to see that aggressive reprice move higher, to see a weekly range expansion. You're not seeing expansion this week. Last week you did have expansion. This week it hasn't yet. And it didn't go very far into last week's range before finding resistance. That's worrisome. So it almost feels like it's probably going to break the 50 at this point in time. Like, this isn't good news that it's still here. The more time you spend at a level or testing a level, the more chances there are of it to break. And the dollar is still trading inside, like the USDJPY is still trading inside of its 4-hour range. That's the trading range for the last 4 hours. You haven't made any fresh lower lows yet. Until you start making lower lows, higher highs are being threatened. Because that is the near-term trend. Higher lows, higher highs. You almost need to see the lower lows. And that's the asset that is keeping the dollar strong, because nobody wants to sell this. Like, I don't want to sell this. Nobody wants to sell this. Wait, what am I looking at here? Oh, that's an hourly. Sorry. I thought I was on a 4-hour time frame, but you're still making higher lows. Like this, not for me, but this would be a buying opportunity in this area. And then whoever takes that buying opportunity, their stops are there, right? And that's been the trend for the last several hours. Higher highs, higher lows. Weekly range is trending. You're above last week's high. So as long as you're above this, you are trending. It couldn't trend there for a little bit, but it is now. It's not a great sign. It looks like it wants to go up. That's bad news for Bitcoin. It's very expensive to hold shorts on this for the swing trade. And why would you want to? This thing is an abomination. It literally is. I thought that just having BOJ intervention, that would unwind carry trades, but it looks like they're not unwinding. It's like they don't care. You get intervention or you get these big moves lower, but then it gets bought right back up. It's an abomination. Until we get interest rates moving to tighten that spread, it is not a good asset to be short or to be holding shorts long term. You're paying a massive premium to hold this thing short. So that's an issue. And it's been an issue for a long time, but that will not change until you tighten that interest rate spread. We need either rate freaking cuts on the USD or rate hikes from the BOJ, one or the other. And until that happens, this is a buy. It's a buy. It's not a sell. We can look at forex.com. Delete all that garbage. Tools. I think it's in platforms. No. Accounts. There we go. Here we go. Rollover rates. So yeah, this is... And these rates are based on interest rates. So you scroll down here to USDJPY. You can see that it pays 50 cents every day to be long the USDJPY. That's on 10,000 units. 10,000 units is it's not a macro, but it's like a mini lot. A lot is 100,000 units. But this fee structure is on 10,000 units. So you're going to get paid 50 cents for every 10,000 units that you're long every day, versus pay $1.16 every 10,000 units to hold a short. That's a massive discrepancy. And because of that, you just do not have professional traders shorting this asset. And long term, it's just been one direction. Pretty much. The shorts that did get paid, they got paid for just a couple days. There's no trending move because nobody is willing to set in this thing for very long. Nobody. And that's really causing an issue because you don't really have a two-sided trading market. You've only got a one-sided trading market. But it's getting closer to where shorts would be interested in looking for the trade, I would argue. Just not me. The 786 is the last place. I was hoping it would give us a test of it and a rejection for us to put on a potential short scout, but hypothetically speaking, I guess one could have arguably looked for that trade there. I just don't love it when there was news out. So did we get an hourly lower low yet? Yes. Barely. 124. No, they're the same. 124. Low is 124, low is 123. Okay, never mind. So you did get a lower low. Barely. By the smallest unit on the planet. So maybe short sellers are trying it today. Like, I could have made the argument to try it myself today if it rejected there. It's just, it is not an attractive trade to be holding shorts long term here. So the only people that are even attempting to short this are day traders. No swing trader, especially because there's no trending moves happening with any sustained, length of time trend. Your swing traders are just sitting on the sidelines. They're not looking at this at all, or they're just long. All the swing traders are long. So you're not really seeing any two-sided trade here, and that's kind of affecting the dollar market. And the dollar is, unfortunately, what Bitcoin trades against. So the dollar will have an effect on Bitcoin. Probably going to need some kind of big bullish catalyst to get any sustainable bullish rally on Bitcoin. We traded up to the 200. That was good enough for me. I mean, at least that happened on the daily time frame. At least you got up there. So, I mean, now we'll probably see a lot of two-sided trade happen until this range is resolved one way or the other. It's not really a range as long as you're trading above prior month highs, though, because last month was the month that took out that February high. So the fact that we were able to make a higher high this month is more of a good sign than a bad sign. but nobody was looking to be a breakout buyer, or there just wasn't enough pressure up there. Michael Saylor also came out and said, "Oh, I'll also sell Bitcoin." Like, yeah, this market is mainly being driven by headline risk. Headlines are controlling the narratives day by day and controlling the way people feel. Because this pullback here also did bring Bitcoin back into fear territory. Boom. So crypto right back down into fear. Just a small pullback. I mean, it's a small pullback. It's not more than just a few percent. 6%, 6.5% from the highs, and people went right back to fear. Fear is typically where you want, like, if you're trying to be a buyer and a seller, if you're trying to navigate these markets, that is typically when you want to be a buyer. Especially if it's fear on a low VIX. I mean, as long as volatility is not expanding and expanding violently, then the bearish move is most likely going to get bought up eventually. Market timing is difficult for anybody, for everybody. Read that you have the April close marked as the March open. Wait, what? Do I? I don't think so. Sorry. That says Friday, May 1st. This is the April close. You see that blue circle? Yeah, I have May 1. I have the May open marked as the May open, not the April close, which it doesn't matter because it's the same price. This is traded 24/7. It would be the exact same price. So, and it doesn't really matter. It would matter on the CMEs, but it doesn't matter on this. And then you said, oh, I have the April close marked. Oh, it's not March. It's supposed to be May. Sorry. It's supposed to be May, not March. I don't know why I wrote March. It's May. We're in the month of May. Sorry. I got what you're saying. Yeah, we're in the month of May. Not March. I must have. No, I actually typed in March. Yeah, that's where my head's at. In the clouds. I don't know why I did that. This is May the 21st. Like, we're almost done with May. We're going into June here. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I see what you're saying. Got it. All right, so USD JPY holding support at the prior 4-hour open. Bitcoin is probably going to not hold here, guys. I mean, it can, but we're probably going to make a fresh low. We need to see the dollar rolling over. Yeah, it's just not. What's oil doing? Still, I mean, this is super bullish. If I was long here, I would be really concerned that price is not ripping. I would be very concerned with that. I don't want to short it because of that, but I mean, if I was holding a long from this level, I would be super, super worried that it's not making higher highs. Very choppy, slow price action on oil. Slow price action across the board. What happened with Microsoft? It is trying to hold that level. I didn't buy it because of everything else being sorry and slow. But that's the level I would like to be a buyer. Yeah, maybe I buy it tomorrow. I like it. I like it down here, but I don't like that it pulled back so hard after making that fresh weekly high. So there's a huge resistance level here, and that's literally what's causing price to range up like this. The best place to be the buyer on Microsoft is down here at this range low or close to the range lows. So that, like, this weekly low, that would have been a really good place to be a buyer. For, like, if it for me, I'm just talking specifically for me. If I would have been watching that, I could have been a buyer either one of these 2 days. This is actually a good look if it can hold, like as long as it doesn't break down today and start to get under yesterday's open. I think a breakout could come pretty soon on Microsoft. So it does look good for the breakout. But there is a big level of resistance that is holding. Big, well, it's not really. I mean, it's a big freaking gap to fill up there. Huge gap. So, I mean, if you could break out and sustain a rally above 434, you could hypothetically target 475. And it could get there quick. Huge gap up there. The sellers are still interested, though, in selling resistance. And longer term, we'll see what happens, but it does look fine for the breakout. Longer term, the 200 week on Microsoft has been a very good place to be a buyer. Obviously not during the 2009 bear market, but we're not in a 2009 style bear market. We're actually in an AI boom right now. I know a lot of your analysts that have a macro take out there, they're all calling this an AI bubble. No. It's a bubble when you're down like 80%, right? The bubble is popping. They're wanting the bubble to pop. And that's keeping retail out of being involved in one of the biggest opportunities of their lifetime. They're going to build out those AI data centers, whether you like it or not. Like, they're going to do it. It's happening. It is currently happening. Hyperscalers are spending hundreds of billions of dollars almost on a daily basis. It's insanity. All those AI plays I discussed a little bit this morning, those things are rocking and rolling. That's where the opportunities were and still will be. $7 trillion to be spent by or until 2030. Like, this is going to be a multi-year play. This is not a 2025 bubble that's rolling over in 2026 and causing a new financial collapse. That is not happening. I mean, you should know that it isn't happening with risk markets doing what they're doing. Like, it broke out. It made fresh all-time highs. It rallied. It continued. It's pulling back. This is a breakout. This is not a... It looks like it's going up, but it's really a short. No, it is not. That is a 2x standard deviation. That's a huge breakout. 3x is on its way, right? $8,000 is on its way. I don't know when it'll happen, but it probably happens before 6,000 happens. But everybody's got to take. Some are good, some are really bad. All right. What was that podcast you've watched about the people that predicted the future? Oh, here, I'll show you. It was like the CEO, Diaries of a CEO. With the Hal Finney, or Hal, not Finney, Hal Puthoff, I think is his name. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, Hal Puthoff. This one right here.
The Station Knife.
I mean, you got to take this stuff with a grain of salt, but have an open mind. That's all I say. You know what I mean? People that have closed off minds, they are never going to make anything happen for themselves, because like, you can't be negative all the time. You got to be positive, and you got to have open mind. You got to be welcome to change. Another really good hour-long live stream, if you've got time to watch, is this one here. It has nothing to do with trading, but has huge implications of what we were taught in school. Huge implications. Because this guy is a scientist. He isn't
energy.
He isn't
energy.
He's not an alien guy. He's not an acid tripper or a mushroom man, right? He would be perfect for Joe Rogan's live stream. He needs to, like, people need to see this. 58,000 views is nothing. But this man right here is a scientist. That's what he does for a living. He does science. And he carbon dated all of this stuff here. Specifically, it's hard to carbon date stone. These are made out of stone. But he thinks that they were poured like concrete. And the tooling marks, like some of the tooling marks on these things, some of these things are 8,000 years old, guys. 10,000 years. He said he's got pieces that he's tested that go way further than that in time. that predates human history. If, like, we were taught in school, people of my age, right? We were taught in school that people were hunter-gatherers 8,000 years ago. They were not smart enough to, like, have a very technological, like, very smart ways to cut out stones, for instance. Like, they didn't have metal tools to carve, like, perfect carvings and stuff on stone. So this has major implications. And this guy literally said that he needs to get out there so that way college, like a mainstream college, can do their own carbon dating on these things, so that way they can compare data. Like, that's what he did this podcast for, is like, because the government is literally, they have not came out and said, yes, we have an alien, or we believe in aliens, but they are releasing UAP stuff. They have said that we don't know what these UAP are. They are real. We don't know what they are. That's better than you're an idiot for believing that there's UFOs. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is all happening. Whether you want it to or not, it's going to have massive implications. Check it out. It's a good watch. It's a good watch. I don't know what that stuff's going to do to the market. But I mean, if it's real, obviously, if aliens are real, and who's got them? The defense sector. They've got them. They've got those aliens. If they're real, they have them. They're the ones that are going to have to answer questions. Where is defense? I don't know if Boeing is part of it, but I would say Lockheed Martin isn't Lockheed Martin the ones that have Skunk Works? Like, what do you think's going to happen to this stock if investors find out that they've got alien tech, like highly advanced tech, gravity defying, infinite energy tech? And they've been sitting on it for years. I mean, there's crazy stuff happening right now in the world. It's a good time to be alive, man. We got quantum computing right on the brink of being real. We got Bitcoin, a massive government surveillance. This whole AI technology thing, they're going to use it for surveillance. You know they are. They're already doing it. It's just going to get worse in the future. You've got the whole EU wanting to implement a communist form of government where they monitor and are able to literally stop your transactions. Like, the ramifications for that are so big, people don't even care. They're just ignoring it. Like, if you don't vote for me, I will cut your food ability off. Like, okay. Not a good thing to do, but go ahead. It's a good time to be alive. Fantastic things are happening. But yeah, I mean, some of these things might explode. I have no idea what kind of ramifications it is, but check them out. Yeah, Hal Puthoff said that there were 7 individuals that were able to accurately predict futures prices every day for silver. And they were doing the Y-Files and other conspiracy style YouTube channels out there been talking about this stuff for years. Like CIA black sites and people that could, like, Jimmy Carter said after he was no longer the president, he said that they were looking for a plane that went down and so are the Russians. So they asked these people where where the plane went down, and he said they literally got them within in like 100,000 square mile radius. They were within 5 miles of where the plane went down on another continent, an American. Like, if there's people that have actual abilities that have been trained to like, those people have an obvious edge in the market, if that's true. But once again, it's all conspiracy theory related. But a lot of conspiracy theory stuff is coming out to be true. UAPs not only has the government believed in UAPs, but they have been actively tracking them. Like, anytime they're in an area with a Reaper drone and they see one, they literally watch it to see what it does. Where does it go? What is it doing? So they believe in UAPs. They're not saying that they're alien spaceships, but they are saying they are real. And then you have members of Congress who are saying that they have seen things that make them believe that aliens are real. Congress people. So UAP files are being leaked. Here's another website that I'm watching. Where did I go? Never mind. I deleted it. Yeah, I don't remember what it was. Oh, I put it in the Discord. This right here, enigmalabs.io. You can literally track or go to their library. This is an app. I don't think it works on Android. I think it only works on Apple. But there are some pretty, these videos are uploaded by people, but you're going to be able to find several videos in here of UAP phenomenon and whatnot. But the reason that I like this is because they track all the all the newest things. It sounds conspiracy. I get it. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you talking about, bro? You're a traitor. Well, it's freaking happening. Disclosure is happening. It's happening slowly. They're going to start with all the blurry stuff and all the little orbs and stuff. It's after this disclosure has been going on for a couple of years, then they'll start they're not going to just bombard you with alien autopsy stuff right off the bat, which that's what the UFO community wants, but that's not what they're going to slowly do it and give the markets time to adjust. That's why this disclosure, the first 6 releases will be stuff that you can still, you could probably still dismiss as being fake or whatever. Bitcoin's still holding this demand zone after an hour, 2 hours. I like it. I find it interesting. Very, very interesting. Especially now that the government is like, yeah, okay, so... And also, I mean, obviously there's... Some people, they say there's been murders because of stuff like this. The government trying... Those people are going to have to answer for that. Yeah. It's an exciting time to be alive. Exciting. I love it. I love it all. His ResearchGate profile lists him as a mechanical engineer cited by only 16 people, ResearchGate, with no apparent credentials in archaeology, okay. Okay, maybe he's not. But he's got the stuff, bro. So, like, he's got the stuff. He's made an open call to anybody who has, say, 30 credentials. Anybody can test it. Anybody. Test it. See if he's wrong. Don't be closed-minded, that's all. Closed-minded gets you nowhere in life. Maybe he's wrong. Maybe he's majorly wrong. Maybe he's not. All right, we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to continue to hold this. Obviously, if Bitcoin comes down to $76,443, I will be stopped out. That is where my stop is sitting for this long here. The reason I am long to finish the video is simply because Bitcoin is still closing candles consistently above the VWAP. The VWAP is the volume weighted average price, and it's the volume weighted average price for this week only. It's not for the entire month of May. For the entire month of May right now, Bitcoin is more bearish because up here is the May VWAP. But for this week, Bitcoin has been holding support, and it has made higher weekly highs. It has only made one weekly low. So until we make a fresh weekly low, the very near term is still up. So that is why I am long. Obviously, I'll be stopped out if it gets down to here. So that price, $76,433, and we'll see what it does going into today. The dollar is still very much structured bullish and could break out here. It is still making higher highs and higher lows on the hourly time frame. We're probably going to need that to change for Bitcoin to hold support. So I'm not telling you to buy Bitcoin, obviously. I'm just telling you what I'm doing, and that's what this channel is about. Teaching you to do what I do on a daily basis. Thank you guys so much for your time. As always, make sure you guys trade safe. Make sure you trade smart. And happy trading, everybody.